Hello everyone, this is a pre-class for the last session, Pygame. It means that we can meet on real-time class soon. Okay, well, let's start. We will cover the followings. What is Pygame? As you can know from the name, Pygame is a Python library for game. It supports many functions for multimedia and components for game. In the class, we will learn about several components for game, such as drawing some object, handling event, and so on. You will use these concepts and tools in the exercise and lab session. Because the most important thing for making game is your idea. So we will just introduce how to make some game and show several examples. This will not be hard, so just enjoy and do it yourself. I think the only thing what you have to do is just installing Pygame library. So you may not have any problem if you have done previous class. Like OpenCV in the previous session, you can just go to Setting and Project Interpreter and find the Pygame and install. That's all. After installation, check if the Pygame package is installed successfully. And for this, import Pygame with this and use pygame.init function. Then some message will be printed out with some version. Then you are ready for this class. Good job! Although there are many kinds of game, the flow is similar with each other. So we will learn about this. This is basic flow of usual game. Initialize and set the environment. It is the preparation for provision of game service. Login and setting screen size and load some assets such as image or data. These are all for this step. And take an infinite loop like this and listens event and handle this continuously. For example, we need to detect some keyboard input or mouse motion continuously, not once. Also, we provide the corresponding response to this. This is called handling. For example, if you press WASD key or left up, right down key, then your character should move it to the direction, right? For usual game. And then we must show the screen as we did in OpenCV. And if we want to quit the game, then we should save some data, close some file, and close window, and so on. So the game is terminated entirely and safely. In order to understand about the concept, we will take an example, Chrome Dinosaur game. Do you know about Chrome Dinosaur game? When you use Google Chrome browser and your internet is disconnected, you can play the game. This is a game where the dino jump by spacebar key and avoid the approaching cactus. We will use this as an example. First, the game initializes and sets something. It loads the dinosaur's image and resets the score and set the screen and so on. When the game has started in infinity loop, increase the score over time and check the user pressed the spacebar. If so, then the dino should jump like this. Also, we should generate some obstacle continuously, and this approaches. And check if the dino and cactus has collided. If these are collided with each other, then the game is over. And then the screen should be updated continuously. If the game is over, then it breaks the loop and shows the ending screen. We can apply such a procedure to many games, such as League of Legends, Battlegrounds, and something others. Okay, I think you could understand the basic flow of game, right? So, from now, we will apply this to Python and Pygame. Before we use Pygame modules, we should initialize this. It can be done by pygame.init function. Then, we should prepare some screen to show. Pygame display consists of several surfaces. Some shape, text, or image can be drawn on the surface. Also, we need some main surface for a window. We can use display.setMode function to generate such a surface and set some property, such as width or height. Basically, and list, it needs a tuple with width and height. Also, you can set the caption of window by using display set caption. Okay, then we need a clock. Why? We need it for many reasons. For example, we should periodically update the screen, or listen and handle some event, or measure the time elapsed, and so on. So we can make a clock in a very simple way by using this. So far, we wrote the code like this, right? Then we finish it to initialize and setting something here. Very good. And we will implement something inside the loop. At the first, we will implement showing screen with some frame rate. We can use fill method that fills surface with some color. And then Pygame display flip function updates and shows the screen to us. Also, we can wait a moment with clocking method. We must wait for a moment because too frequent screen update is unnecessary and expensive. Why? Because your monitor can show this at most 144 frames per second or at most 240 frames per second, even if you are using very expensive monitor. But the loop can be iterated about several millions or a billion per second if the program is not too complicated, right? So wait for some time, please. Okay, anyway, you can write the code like this. If you run this, then some screen can be shown, but it seems that there is some problem, right? we should listen and handle the given event. For example, even clicking close window button is also event, and as we could see in the previous session, OpenCV, mouse motion, keyboard input, etc. are the event. So, at the first, how can we listen the event? We can use Pygame event get function. It returns a kind of list because several events can be occurred simultaneously. So, we can use for statement because we want to check all the events occurred now. Does it make sense? Basically, we can listen and handle the event like this. We can listen there and then check the event type like this. If event type equals something, and then we can do something for the corresponding event. Then, at the first, we will implement quick event. If you click close window button like this, or pressing Ctrl C in Linux, then the game must be terminated, right? We can terminate Pygame and the program with Pygame quit function and system exit function. We should import sys library, it means system, to use a sys exit function, like this. If the function is called, the program is terminated regardless the current situation. Anyway, the event we are interested in type, Pygame quit. It is defined like this. So just use and check this by using if statement and then call Pygame quit function and sys exit function. That's all. So then we implemented this so far. Okay, almost done. The important fact is that which kind of event and how to handle the event is entirely depend on you and your game. For example, spacebar can be used for jump or plus some menu or window or quit the game. You can freely choose them. Also, the following content is just commonly used case. So if you want, then you can seek another way or better way. Okay, then let's see some example. We will get some keyboard input. In general, game character can move via WASD key or up, down, left, right key, right? And escape key is commonly used to float some menu or setting window, and so on. Anyway, if you make a game with large volume or even small volume, you may need some keyboard input handling, right? We can do this like quick example as we could see in the previous slide. So if we detect some keyboard event such as key down or key up, then we should be able to distinguish the corresponding key. So we can check the key regarding to the event by using event key. For example, if we press the key, then event type is key down and event key is KA, right? So after check, you can use your implementation for this. For example, you can make a simple program where the screen is red when we press the R, and green we press the G, and blue when we press the B. That's simple, right? So try this by yourself. I recommend not to see the sample code in advance. Okay, then let's draw something like we did in OpenCV session. Almost every game needs some visual component. We show character, user interface, or some text message, so on. Pygame provides various shapes to draw. We can use pygame.draw function. Regardless the kind of shape, we should specify some surface to draw, like this, and some color, like this, and some point stands for the size or location. This is start point and point, or it can be rectangular, or someone is center of a circle, right? And optionally width. Also note that width is optional, and if width is 0, then the inside is filled with the color, like this. So please try to draw something by yourself. I strongly recommend. And we can use blend method to copy some visual object into the screen. Note that the method is surface method. And so we can bleed something to the main surface we declared with display setMode function. Also, we should indicate the location to specify where it is copied. It is a surface, so we can think about that. This is main surface. And there is some subsurface like this. There can be image or just field color like this. Then by using bleed method, we can copy to somewhere. It can be here or it can be here. It depends on the location, right? So let's use this. You can load your image from disk by using Pygame image load function. The returned value, so image variable, is actually a surface. But since it is not a main surface, we often call this a subsurface. And you can specify the location as a XY tuple or XYWH tuple, like this, or something else. Also, you may need show some text, including message, score, point, and someone's name, so on. Then, how can we do that? There is a class named font. It has a font information such as font style like Times New Roman, Arial, or something, and font size. We can use it in order to render some text. For this, we should declare some font object. It is two-way, like this or like this. The font method uses the file in your local directory, and if it is known, then the system default font is loaded. And we can use sysfont method. This uses the system font, so it is predefined on your system like this. Note that the font size is immutable, so you cannot change this. Then we can use render method to render some text. Actually, it returns a surface, like the image case. We can specify the text to be shown and anti-aliasing and color. By the way, anti-aliasing is a processing method to smoothen some picture. For example, if there is some like this, then it can be smooth like this. Oh, my drawing is so bad. Anyway, you can choose this by true or false, like this. The rendered text is surface type, like image, as I said. So we can bleed this into our main surface screen. To screen, we bleed the text one surface to this location, right? Then we can see the following result. Note that when we use bleed, the image cannot be cropped although the image size is larger than the given region. Let me see the example. We specify the region like this, very small, 1 pixel by 1 pixel. But it is printed very normally, right? And obviously this text must not be 1 by 1 pixel, right? So be cautious of the region. Anyway, let's move on to mouse event handling. It is very similar with OpenCV mouse event, so we expect that you can follow very well. We can get the current mouse position by using mouse get position. It returns two tuple x, y. Then we can make a program that draws a dot when we click somewhere, like OpenCV. Do you remember? It's also not so much elegant. We want to draw something like paint tool, right? So let's improve this. How about this? So this version uses toggle. We can draw a dot continuously as long as mouse is clicked and hold. But as you can see, somewhat is awkward like this, right? This is more elegant way. We can draw AA line. It means a line applied anti-aliasing. Then the drawn line is not cut off and it becomes very smooth, right? I will not explain the detailed implementation in this lecture. I want to recommend to understand by yourself, only seeing the code. This is very good practice for programming, but of course, if you have a problem understanding this, then we can help you. So please ask us. In the lab session, we will make more and more elegant program by using the previous example. We will implement the completed paint tool by using Pygame. Also, we will make a falling proof game, that is, avoiding the falling proof. I don't know the game's English name. Anyway, paint tool implementation will be somewhat difficult, although we provide some guide and skeleton code. So practice this. We have almost done, and we will learn about one of the most important objects in Pygame, rect. Rect is a rectangle, so it has x, y position and width and height basically. This is important because it can indicate a certain region. With a rect, we can use some region like this. It can be some obstacle or some event driver or something else. And several functions for interaction is supported. The famous example is collide. It can detect some collision between rect and point. We will see in the next slide. Anyway, it can be regarded as a unit of Pygame. The initializer of rect uses 4 parameters: x, y, width, and height. Then how can we use it? At the first, we will try to relocate rect. There are 2 ways. First, because it is like class, so we can directly change the member variable like this. And we can use move method like this. For example, some rect dot move -10 +10. Then suppose that the rect is here, then moves -x direction, so here, and +y direction here. So the rect moves to here. Understand? I recommend to use second one because it is more straightforward, right? So we can make some program. If we press left key, then some images moves to left and so on. So suppose that there is a image, then we can move this with the keyboard input. Do you understand of the objective? So it is a simple implementation, so try this. But after you can implement this, then you can notice that it cannot move continuously by holding key, and it cannot move in a diagonal way. So we will use the same method in the paint tool example in the next slide. Okay, the code becomes somewhat messy, but you can make it clear, I think. In this version, we can move continuously by holding key, and we can move some in diagonal direction. What is the difference between the previous example and this, and why it is possible to do this? It is a useful question for developing skills for implementation, I think. So I recommend to try this by yourself and think about this. Then let's move on. At the first, do you know this game? I remember that this is called World Hardest Game, maybe. It is game to move this red rectangle with a keyboard, and then we should avoid these blue circles and collect the coin and go to the destination. It is somewhat hard, I agree. Anyway, like this, two or more objects can collide with each other during the moving, right? Uh, Sometimes this situation is important for some game, right? Okay. Then, so we will implement collision handling. But note that the handling depends on your purpose. A class lect supports a method, collide lect, collide point, and collide list. These check if the rectangle is collided with the point or lect or someone in the list. Point and lect returns true when these are collided and false otherwise. But collide list returns the index of the element and returns -1 when it is not collided. So it may be useful when we implement the game falling proof. Do you agree? So far, we have done for all components of Pygame flow. Very good. But I think you may want to sum your own game, and the examples and tools we have covered can be insufficient. You can refer the official documentation here or share your idea with us, then we can give some advice or help. Also, we provided some supplements and exercise for this. So before the real-time class, please practice and ask to us. Anyway, our all pre-class time is over. Then we can meet via Zoom soon. I really hope to see you guys, and thank you for watching this, and see you in the real-time class. Thank you.